how, I mean, if you have LLC with multiple members of it, and then they thought, well, we really would like to go our own separate ways. How does that work? What's the mechanics of that? Can you touch on that a little bit?
Sure. There's a lot of different structures that people will own assets in, as you said, an LLC, different corporations, different partnerships. Ideally, people would own real estate as tenants in common because that gives you the most flexibility from what I've seen, the ability to kind of dissolve the TIC and individual participants go in their own direction. I guess I would say, obviously, having a good tax and/or legal advisor can be enormously helpful. I joke sometimes when I get questions saying, well, this investor is in a C Corp and they need to unwind this, and they're asking me, and I said, well, I am not a tax professional. Right. I don't give tax advice. And you're
that
talking
should
about
probably be a disclosure as well. We're not giving tax or legal advice on the show today.
And you're, in many cases, you're talking about assets that have a 7-8 figure valuation to them. So you want to make sure, just as in all business decisions, that you have good qualified people.
Sure.
But one such structure known as a drop and swap can be very helpful, where effectively you dissolve the entity that the owners were part of, and you're able to portion out the individual pieces pro rata to the investors, and then they can go and make their own decision. Because again, what happens in a lot of partnerships, for example, 20 years ago, everybody was healthy and well and happy together, and then over the last 20 years, people have passed away. So now you have multi-generational considerations, you have liquidity considerations. So there's a lot of activities that a good attorney / CPA can help you unwind.
Right.
And one of the things that I recommend is make sure you've addressed those structural issues before you get too far down the path of actually disposing of the property. Right. Because again, I had a personal situation where we had to restructure a corporation, and then our attorney suggested that we wait a period of time to sort of let the dust settle.
Do you find that, again, without giving tax advice, just in your experience, how far in advance of an exchange have you seen the drop and swap be implemented?
So I've heard it said, maybe jokingly, maybe this is more realistic. It depends on where, how should we say, on the coasts. There's certain places where people would say, boy, you can do one and then walk right into the next transaction the next day. There are some people would say straddling a tax year might be a good, that way the paper trail is a little bit. We did one transaction 1 year and another transaction in another year. As you mentioned earlier, there aren't a lot of bright lines with some of these aspects with the IRS. It's really more of the investor and their advisor's mentality as far as how comfortable they are with that.
Very good. Well, we have resources that are available if somebody wants to learn more about drop and swap, or the other way, swap and drop.
Yeah.
These are tools that are not, you don't generally want to go in and tell the IRS, hey, what's the best way to do my drop and swap?
Exactly.
Okay, that's not how that works.
Exactly.
That's lingo for the planners on the front side.